The Bible has a lot to say about the human heart, and sometimes we get a little bit confused because we're not sure what to do with the terminology. Sometimes it's talking about the heart and then it's saying the thoughts of the heart, and we think, oh, it must be talking about the mind, therefore. But I think if we're careful with the way we handle the text, there's a consistency throughout both Old and New Testament that the heart is right at the core. It's at sort of the root of who we are as humans. It's out of the overflow of the heart that the mouth speaks. It's from the heart that sin spews out of us, Mark 7. And there's all these passages, Solomon in Proverbs. I always go to that one because Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived, begins a proverb by saying, above all else. And so with all the proverbs he's given us, he says, above all else, guard the heart, because it is the wellspring of life. And so I think what the Bible's saying to us about the human heart, not referring to the pump in our chest, but referring to the very core of who we are, the values that drive us. It's speaking of that response mechanism. It's speaking of that part of us that either loves or doesn't, that is either attracted to or isn't. And it's not something that we cognitively control. It's not something that we manipulate with our thinking. It's what supplies or even dictates to our minds how we should think. So our values are being fed to our minds from our hearts. And that's why we can totally rationalize something that we said we'd never do, and then we do it and we rationalize it because our minds are just using the values that the heart supplies. And so the scripture says an awful lot about the heart, and I think we need to look at that carefully and take that seriously and recognize we're created in the image of a God who is a relator and a responder. We're made in that image, and if we neglect the heart, if we push it to one side and think, no, it's all about the mind, we're going to have serious problems. The heart is incredibly significant in the human.